Yes, I know I'm late. Let's get into it. Welcome back all. Yes, we are here to do the super chats. They are prepaid by donation. The link, I believe, I have shared in the community tab or directly on here if you don't have it. We do have the list. I have shared it with Giggle. I have updated it most recently. We do have the list here so far. I think last week we did 15. For those of you that do enter into the house, remember that we do have the super chat links there. You can pay via the donation link, or you can pay through YouTube. Now, I'll just get the banner off the screen. I don't look flash, but, you know, shit happens. We are trying to get a lot of things condensed. I have put the Eclipse update up, so it is going to be premiered. So those of you that aren't a member, you will get that notification if you go to the video. You can actually click the bell so you can be notified it's coming out Monday, I believe. And that's so it wasn't going to clash with any other content. You were going to get the notifications because we do have, I think, about approximately 3 videos every 24 hours. So if I'm launching something in the morning, I have to launch it the following morning, and then we can be, you know, semi-safe that you're going to get a notification. Otherwise, if you directly go to the video and you click the link, you're going to get the notification. Now, I did do a little bit of coaching, which you probably won't look at it as coaching. Some of you are taking it out of context. I did touch base with the members this morning, and especially because there has been this very nostalgic energy that's been coming through. I do particularly feel it's because of the eclipse coming in Libra. We are going to be very reflective of previous connections. That can be marriages, contracts, partnerships. It can be alliances we've had with other people. You know, the thoughts. So we are almost feeling a little bit stuck. Like I mentioned previously in the twin flame joint connection, we are in a number 10 vibration this month. So what we can find going on is we're feeling a little bit like out of sync. It could be like something's missing. We could feel very apprehensive moving forward to do with our connections, most intimate connections. A physical partnership. I mean, I looked at the news this morning and there were dramas happening in certain countries, which you can key point where these locations directly are going to be. But it was anything down to, I think, individuals working in trade, which we did have a Mercury retrograde, a Venus retrograde. So it was at supermarkets, people actually going on strike, you know, dramas happening in certain countries to do with peace treaties. We were having that, which again, you know, it's the South Node at the moment and it's the first eclipse and it's set. The next eclipse that's coming is going to be wrapping up the previous nodal cycle. So it's like we're going to have a bunch of mishmash going on. We're going to have 2 subject matters going on of endings and new beginnings, double whammy. So the context of this, I have placed inside the joint connection, numerology, astrology, the joint connection, where the blockages can be. In the members hub, I've done the same. I've posed a question, and it's for all of you to sit there and actually say, okay, where in my life, because so many times we misunderstand. I'll put the list up on screen. So many times we do directly feel that, you know, especially for those of you that watch me for the twin flame path, for instance, which this is just not a twin flame path channel. We cover astrology, we cover betterment of who you are as a person. And there's a lot of links inside your chart to show when those openings are going to be. We can look at the collective energy astrologically. We can also look at your own personal birth chart to see where the North Node, South Node, and other aspects are happening to tell you when that is going to come about. But also you do need to do the legwork to get to that. So at the moment we are faced with the T section in the road. That T section in the road is, it can be big changes, whether we want it or not. Sometimes in our ego, we can feel those changes mean we're not going to get what we want. It's generally not so. But because we have attachments, we're human beings, we have the monkey mind, Ascension has a lot of ego involved. So it's about shredding away that ego, looking at things in a wider perspective, not outruling another person's feelings or opinion, and trying to move through your personal changes. A lot of zodiacs that will experience this is probably Taurus, I would say Scorpio, Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Cancer and Leo. And that's because you guys, the Cancer and Leo, you're the moon and the sun. So during those times, you'll feel slightly triggered. And the ones in those sets that I mentioned, because of the axis of the north and the south, the shadow signs to each other, big changes for those zodiac signs. But all of us have those zodiac signs inside our chart. So it's about knowing where those areas are, or watch the video that is talking about the first edition of the eclipse, and it's going to give you some key points. Now, we do have super chats weekly at this stage. I did put a community post up and explain that we were going to be doing super chats this week. At the moment, I'm planning for a wedding, so the more work, the merrier, right? And those things can be expensive, but we're doing things the non-traditional way. So we're going to have a look at the first super chat, which is research clue. Do you feel special? To see what is coming through for you. Let's put the intentions there. Feel free, if you have a direct one question, you can place it up on the screen. But also know that at the moment, these transits are very personal to us. So it can be on our side of the fence, there is something changing in us to change the equation of our future. So although we do ask about other people, a lot of times we outrule the fact that there could be something that we need to do in order for that to eventuate. So now we have a research clue. If they have not been able to make it to the super chat because of the time zones, that's fine. It just means I'll pull the cards and see what comes through. So I'm going to pull the cards. I did jump onto a channel the other day. I've got to remember the name. I'll have to give them a big shout out. It is astrology. I've forgotten the name now. God, just shocking, Yildiz. And they pulled a card for me, and I thought it was so beautiful. I didn't even ask a question, but hey, he's got a lovely astrology channel, and I just absolutely love his vibe. So I will share him in the community tab. Yeah, I just really love his vibe. He's got a beautiful presence about him. So he does like little weekly updates, which I used to do weekly updates, but you know, YouTube algorithm. Really been sitting with changes at the moment, especially because I have Libra in my chart, about what those changes are going to be, how they're going to be manageable, what my goals are, really, you know, because we've got to have goals. Twin and I were talking about that today. You know, a lot of times we'll get a masculine actually saying, don't make plans. And the feminine will be like the pyramid keeper. Got to make plans, got to plan for tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I have to be so responsible. And you've got to find a healthy medium between the both. And so we were having a deep and meaningful conversation based on this very subject matter. And it was to do with not actually planning, not actually, you know, don't not plan, don't not have dreams, just have less attachment, be more flexible. So that, yes, that plan can change, but definitely have goals. Okay, so research clue, the energy that's coming through for you, and it can be something directly that you're assessing a risk at this point. And again, this can be where we feel very unsure of ourselves. We're actually looking at a circumstance and we're saying, okay, what are the pros and cons of this situation? So there can be a circumstance that you're directly dealing with at this point, and you could not be trusting yourself. This could be to do with love, to do with connections, especially because of the pending eclipse. There can be a situation you're dealing with at this point in time, and you're trying to balance between, okay, do I, don't I, what do I do? Again, if you're sitting on the fences, no decision is a decision. Again, I'm hearing the term time is ticking. So, you know, this could be, whenever I see this card, it is to do with victory. It could be to do with the team environment. It could be to do with people in general. But again, this is linking to me Thanksgiving, Christmas as a time frame I'm kind of sensing. But if this is in the past position, this could have been something that was going on for a very long time and you kind of delayed making decision. It could be to do with, again, you're holding it close to your chest, you're holding it in, but it's happening on the inside of you. So sometimes we can actually look at a decision. No decision is a decision. But in your heart, you're very protective of your heart chakra. There could be some healing that you have going on. Now, usually in a healing sense and in a synchronistic event, when situations are happening in our life, it can be with a twin flame path, it can be with, our finances and our wealth. Venus and Mercury were retrograde. When they go direct, it's almost like there can be a dip, but then it all catches up, it all comes up. So what do I mean by that? Economically, globally, it can be a bit of a stint, but it's going to come back and it's going to be really busy, especially, I would say, in the next 2 weeks and towards the end of the year. It's just going to be hell for leather. It's going to be very busy. But spiritually for you, what I'm sensing is you could be saying you're trying to play your cards right, but there's a decision that has been nagging at you for a long time to do with marriages, contracts, partnerships in your life. And you're wanting to have more, right? You're wanting to have more. But is the buck worth the grind? Is there a different way you could do it? Is there a different way you could look at it? I do feel you're being protective. This could be protective of yourself. This could be saying there's no solution. Trust me, 100 times I have said that. Giggle has been the best teacher to me, accidentally so. Sometimes in our 3D life, unless a person walks a mile in our shoes, they can't understand. But sometimes it's about digesting what's being said to you and then sitting there and going, okay, where does this directly relate to me? What could I do? Am I physically having tunnel vision? Is there a different way to peel an onion? Okay. So I think if you step back and you look at your romance house, your physical working environment, a dynamic you're dealing with, you're going to get the harvest you're wanting, but are things at the moment going to extremes? Can you step back at this point? Because a tower moment could occur, but could you be the one to control that factor? So it's either going to happen to you or you're going to take your power back and you're going to deal with it, okay? That's kind of how it's being shown to me. There are other influencing situations happening around you that's causing you anxiety, but I do feel you could be the deciding influence in this situation, especially moving to this eclipse. Look at what you're fighting for. What do you want the outcome to be? Try and step back from all the other involvements in this situation, because I feel, especially when we go into that victim consciousness, we're like, and I've said this 100 times, especially in our lives, be it we're single parents or we're doing something, when we feel overwhelmed, we can fall into that victim consciousness, which it's not that we're not, right? It's not that we're not. It's, why do I always have to be responsible? Why do I always have to do this? Why do I never get X, Y, and Z? It's about shredding that back and saying, is this causing a situation for me not to make any decisions and to give my power away? Because you actually do have power here, and universe is actually saying to you in the context of this reading, you're going to get your harvest, right? It's about what you do with this circumstance. You can change the status quo in all areas of your life this month. Okay, I hope that helps. What do we have next? Who do we have? We have KM. Hi, KM. Hello, my love. What would you like to know? If you hear any noise going on, I have my washing machine going, I've got my dishwasher going, I've got a puppy at the backyard, and I tend to feed her now. She's very unruly. She's used to getting fed very early. So if I don't take her bowl away, she will carry it around the garden, the courtyard, and basically say to me, look, love, you need to feed me. So because she gets fed really early on my weekday, because I'm up at 3:30, on a weekend, it's like, look, man, this is like lunchtime for me. What's going on here? So I believe I've taken her bowl away. Otherwise, you just hear her carrying it through the yard. Okay, I'm going to pull some cards for KM. I have my rocket fuel next to me, which moving into the next eclipse. I'm listening whatever you channel. Yeah, look, I even mentioned it in the members, my love to you. It's, a lot of us at the moment have been, like I said, looking back, I've had really interesting synchronistic events relating to the past, relating to the movement forward. And, when you do look at the number energy, it's a 0 and it's a 1 for this month. So it's almost like, an ending and a new beginning And, at the time, we need to be in the energy of what we physically are, but also know, yes, a new chapter's coming. And it's like, whoa, 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 give me a minute. I need to integrate. And so, look, spiritually, what you might have found, and souls that are in this life, they actually do choose to transcend over at a particular time. That can also be because in a past life, you had a connection with that person. And we have hundreds of people in a past life that we had connections with. There was one young child in New Zealand that I remembered from a previous life, and this child actually was my sibling. But this child in this lifetime was actually my neighbour. He was adopted, and he was physically my neighbour. His name was Darren. And, spiritually, I have not seen him probably since I was 9. I do think about him often and wonder where he is. But he came back into my life for a particular purpose. But I did have a recollection of him in my past life. Now, when a soul transcends out, it's because if they didn't, you would stay stuck. You would stay in that cycle believing that is what your role is. You have a new role. And so universe is saying, okay, we had to remove a situation from you. We are giving you time to grieve and heal. It was relevant. It doesn't make it any less important what the ending of that story was. And it's just about taking time and valuing it. It also does show us, especially in a mirror effect inside a twin flame path, it helps us actually have more empathy that when that person does go through something similar, we're not going to have that jealousy. We're not going to have that insecurity that because a person had a connection to another person, that makes us any less important. Does that make sense? So it's contextual. The healing is happening in a mind, okay? The healing is happening in the mind. So it is about not getting up in your head. Don't mull over what I shouldn't have done. Many times, the cards drop, so it's very relevant to you. Many times we will say to ourselves when a person is gone, there's unfinished business, right? Now, if there's unfinished business, the soul's going to come back, reincarnate, but very separately. Most times we make it about unfinished business because it's going to mirror in our childhood a situation. Could it be with a parent figure? Could it be with a father figure in our life? And we are having a different energy with them, and there's a trigger point there. Was it that we weren't heard? Was it that we empathized with our child because of something we went through in our childhood? So it's about sort of getting that, but also getting that's our inner child, and we need to do that spiritual work on it, but also not feeling that is the same for that child that is actually having that personal experience, because it's different for each one. What I'm sensing spiritually is this is clearing a lot of junk, okay? This is clearing a lot of energy for you. Also, sometimes in a blockage in our twin flame path, and I've said this 100 times, when we have unfinished business with a person, we can be pointing the finger, presuming and thinking that twin has somebody else, but do we have somebody else that we're dealing with that we haven't closed this? So universe is forcing you to close it, but they're also asking you to be the full card in tarot. They're saying to you, it is okay for you to create new memories now, the very valued memories that you physically had with that person and hundreds of other people. You are going to still hold them very dear to yourself. That is okay, because that was a connection at a point in your life, but it's not the end of the story. So the end of the story would be more your whole life ahead of you. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, there's lots going on in the mind. Past space. Lots of conflicts. It's regrets. It's like, I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have said that. There can be extremities, it couldn't, which is an understatement, right? Things went to extremes. Could this have been a situation where a habit was involved? It could have been something to do with psychology, something to do with the connection that you knew this person was going through. And it's something you're aware of, though. That's what I'm getting. It's something that you are aware of that was going to extremes. But also this is going to the past. Now, you can feel you're having bad luck, right? You can feel, because the star card in tarot, how do I explain it? It's usually you have a tower moment, and then it's like dark before the dawn, you get the star. It's come up and reversed in the heart chakra, right? So do you feel cursed? Yes, but again, that's all about healing. It's the 7 stages of healing. They come through in various ways. It's actually asking you very intentionally to look at what you're fighting for. Sometimes the story had ended and, we then second guess ourselves and go, but should it have? But it still would have ended because, when a person chose to transcend out, they were going to choose to transcend out regardless of whether you were aware. It's still about valuing the story of what it was. Yeah. Separation. Okay. So individual, transcended over. Lots of healing to do with that. Okay. You could be a bit unmotivated at this point, but it's saying take things easy. I do feel with the surrounding energies of what's occurring, you're going to need to take a minute because there is going to be a bit of upheaval, but the upheaval isn't bad. The upheaval is major decisions in your life. And you are going to return to a more neutral sense. But, things like births, deaths, they're very major events in our life. It can be marriages. They're major events, right? Divorces. It actually does change the psyche of the individual. And so your perspective in life is going to totally shift. So all the things you did and don't like, that's going to shift. And that's going to be about, okay, the way you look at family, the way you value things, the way you're present in life, the choices you're making to move forward. It could be the physical presence of where you currently live right now, the career you're doing. All of those things are going to be shifting, but you need to take a minute. And as you go through that, try to go inside, not outside, because inside is where all the junk can be going on. And once you digest that, each day, try to become more present in your physical new life, not just, feed the old, but each day gradually feed your new life. You're going to come out of those woodworks, but be able to be in a more balanced place where you can look at what this new vibe is going to be. And you can still honor the past still, right? You can still honor it. But I do sense a lot of changes. There's a bit of, paperwork dilemmas directly after, a bit of mess I'm seeing, but it's going to pass. It's going to pass for more quicker than what you think. It's like a birthing canal I'm seeing. And there is a brand new chapter coming here. What you're feeling, this person thinks, this person's very at peace. This person's like, don't regret the past. Don't regret anything you wish you could have done or should have done. Don't go there. They're saying, don't go there. That's a waste of your energy. You have your whole life ahead of you. They're wanting you to be very present, smile at the positive memories, smile at the moment, and, just gradually be open to this new chapter because it's going to be better than you think. Okay? I hope that helps. But each day, try and tweak it a little bit. And it's going to get you out of the funk. And it's a natural funk, but it's going to help you get grounded quicker. That can be going out to get the mail. It can be, maybe going and having a coffee on the veranda. It's just gradually coming back to the normal, the new normal, so that you can physically be present, even if it's just taking a walk on the beach. But think about you. Yes, give the energy to that, but also give the energy to I'm here, I'm safe, I'm lovable, I have a bright future. And it's going to bring you back to the reality. And where you can, take your shoes off, get grounded, and have those beautiful positive memories with your child. Bring those in. Don't feel the lack. Where it's been has been where it's been for a while. So, you're safe. There's still a bright future ahead, and look at it from that perspective. I hope that helps. You're welcome. Okay, we have Marie. Oof, Marie, what's going on with you? Can you please let me know what is going on with my twin and our twin flame path? Okay. And remember, when we ask these questions, and I mentioned this at the very beginning, is there something you can do? And this is a big question I do feel coming into eclipse season. We do need to all directly look at, because so many times we give our power away and we think all the permission and all the changes on that side. But we do have a lot more power than we think. And there are, by small implementation of changes, we can actually change the path. And, you do have this separation energy. And the question you need to ask is, why is the separation serving? Why is it occurring? What is going on? You could be wondering, are they separate? I'm feeling they are. It could be causing some turmoil and anger. Frustration. I'd say frustration. We do have in the past position, we have the Page of Wands. So this could be heated. It could be frustration. You also psychically could be picking up on this individual as per se, because we do, especially with Neptune and Saturn retrograde, we can be picking up psychically on these energies. Do you feel valued? That's what I'm getting. Okay. I pose the question to you. If this person made communication with you, if they haven't already, how would you relate to them at this point in time? Because a lot of what I'm saying at the moment is crossness, which I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm not saying you don't have a right to feel that. There's a lot of questions in your mind. It's like, well, it was all sunshine and rainbows, and then it turned. That's what I'm hearing. It turned. And I do feel for a lot it's going to be quite relevant this month, because we are shifting a corner. We are entering into brand new chapters. But how do we enter into brand new chapters? We've got to dump the junk. And it doesn't mean that those junky situations weren't valuable. It could have been a really great connection, but it's like, but you're here, and this is the new chapter. And we're like, but we're apprehensive. Why? Is because we're human beings and we love to control. It's like getting on a ride and we're like, okay, we're casing that ride. We're like, if you've got fear of heights, you're like, hell to the night and going on that, I have a fear of heights, and let me just see what the depth of that drop is. Is that going to be too much for me? I mean, I went on a ride and I always do shit that scares me, because I so do not want that ego involved where it's going to really bug me. So I really operate under great immense amounts of pressure. I'm sadistic, but this is who I am. So I'm the most successful when I'm under extreme pressure. I'm the most successful when I'm put to a test. It's sadistic, I know, but it's from my childhood, because if somebody said to me I couldn't do it, or my father would say to me, well, of course you can't. You have to get in there and do it. You're going to keep doing it till you get at it. It was like, that's the challenge. That's my Saturn and Leo. So what I see from your energy here is you're pissed. Okay, sweet. And look, there can be a lot of trauma relating to I'm not being chosen. But could it be that nothing's wrong and this person has some things that they're actually dealing with? Just give the situation the benefit of the doubt, because what I'm seeing is you're painting a picture based on a previous experience and a conflict that you've had. But I do feel, I'll just say, if you heard from this person, and you can answer this on screen yourself, I do feel you'd give them a mouthful at this point in time, because you're actually cross, but it's because it's triggering a wound and you feel somebody's taking your power away. You could text that person. You still do have power. It's about how you're physically showing up with this. You could just ask the layman basic question. Penny Little, did the sky fall down? Houston, are you all right? You could. Okay, that's up to you. You have the full card here. You're like, I'm trying to hold my shit. I'm trying to be patient because I want to play my cards right. Now, even when we do play our cards right, good and bad happens to good and bad people. So let's not get our knickers in a twist with that, because you are going to get your star card, but it doesn't mean that you need to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you can't lose your cool, and it doesn't. You get my gist. You could be thinking psychologically, if I'm not, this is such a cliche, if I'm not a good girl, I'm not going to get an ice cream. Do you get what I'm saying? But what if this problem is not you? What if this situation has nothing to do with you? And, no response is a response. Always go into that. Or you can throw a text message out without attachment that person can or can't message you. And if they don't, the next time you speak to them, you can say, look, these are my boundaries. This is my base level. The way I look at a relationship and the way you look at a relationship maybe is different, but I communicate, and that's effective. And it was so literal when we saw the celebrant yesterday. is that they literally hand you a flyer out, and the first thing they say is, make sure your communication's right before you do such. And I just pissed myself laughing. That's a base level, but Twin Flame Path has a lot of that. But you do move beyond that. And a lot of it is to do with throat chakra, especially as Venus is going to move into Virgo. It's about, look, be scared to be disliked. You can still be high vibe. You can still discuss the situations. You can still say, hey, like, you know, just it can be, okay, you're triggering me because I feel you're hiding something from me. That's still articulating something. That's saying, hey, dude, I've got some intuition. Something's a bit funky. It smells like fish. What the diddly-o is going on here? Are you crying, laughing? You know, it doesn't mean whooping somebody's ass, because you can't manipulate a person into doing something. It's about looking at it and saying, okay, what directly can I do right now? If you were, and I'm just going to put this out there, if you were intimate with that person, you could feel a little bit used. That could be something that's coming up. And you can confirm or deny. It's up to you. Okay, but what I do see here is there's concerns. Okay, I'm going to pull a card for advice for you because, you know, this is what is going on with your twin flame path at this point. They're also saying, if you don't ask, you won't know. It really triggered you. You know, okay, so this is why it triggers you. So what was the question? I won't need a card for that. What was the question? And I always say, if you are going to text message somebody, what you need to do is sit with it and go, okay, if it triggers me, no response is a response. Let's just leave that at the moment. If you're going to send a text, is it to, you know, you got to check the reasons why you're doing it. Just a statement. Yeah, so you're going to say, look, for instance, in separation, I was like, you're an ego, Yildiz. You heard something went down with your twin and it was real shitty. Put it out there that your thoughts are with them. Sweet and simple. Not, I want to reconcile. What are you doing? How are you doing? Hope to God you're going to call me. It's like absolutely no attachment. Why? Because they could have had some major drama going on in their life, and it absolutely has nothing to do with you. And in the meantime, you're up in your head going, oh my God, it's about me. And, you know, they don't care about me. It's like, if you're sending a text and you know what the outcome's going to be if they choose to do the polar opposite, you shift your energy. Trust me, if you shift your energy straight away into your life right now, I can tell you within 2 weeks you'll have contact. But if your focus is so heavily on that person, as soon as you ignore that energy, what do you find? Have you ever noticed, you've been in a room, and I tested this in my journey, you know, TF was always up in their heads, on the phone, talking to someone. I was like, I'm going to mirror everything that person is doing. They would message me. I mean, the cliche statement piece came up, and most of my YouTubers know that that person would respond to me with one letter, and it was K. I mean, even Giggle knows this to this day. So it went around our YouTube community, and they were responding to their TFs with K, which was, okay, thank you, great. So I'd ask a question, and it'd be K. And I'd be right. So I started doing it, and I'd piss them off. Why? It's because you mirror the same vibration of what that person is giving you. If they're going into silence, you go into silence. But psychologically, we are all telepathic. If that person can feel you up in their energy, well, they're like, I've got all the world and I've got all the time in the bloody world. Now, if you shift it away psychically, what happens? Because it's a joint energy, and there's attachment there, as soon as you block that out, you get heavy psychic attacks. Why is that? Because that person doesn't have all the time in the effing world. You're like, I ain't got time for these baby games. I'm shifting my energy. I'm focusing on my life. If you want to know psychically what's going on in my life, you need to be present in my life. That's earned. Okay, that would be my advice to you. Block it out. Don't personalize it. Say to yourself, I'm worthy. Maybe what's going on in their life has nothing to do with me. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll be adult. I do have power. Now, if you are getting to a place where you are saying, I'm going to up and go, I have a lot of whoop ass to say, wait till they're in front of you, because we always react differently, right? Now, it depends on the question. Did you ask a question? Well, if you didn't ask a question, you're not getting an answer. And if you don't get an answer, also don't personalize it. You could say, are you right? How you deal with it is what counts. But if you tune out and block it out, you feel their energy blow out, you've got that by and focus on something. Could be art, could be cleaning, could be making plans for your life moving forward. You're cool. But don't think you don't have power and don't think you can't have benchmarks. If you do, more than likely they're going to be more attracted to you. Carrie. Oh, did we do Marie already? We're done, Marie. And Giggle probably put it up, and I didn't bloody put it up because, you know, I'm unorganized. Thanks. Now we have Carrie. Oh, Carrie. Wow. Okay. Now, Carrie, yours naturally, honestly, in your zodiac, I'm telling you, closer to this eclipse, you're going to... maybe you need to become the opposite of what you are, right? And I'm telling you, Libra is becoming Aries and Aries is becoming Libra. So you could be trying to find a healthy way to find balance with other people. Now, you also could overcompensate and go, I'm trying to appease every Tom, Dick, and Harry. That's probably not going to work either. You're trying to find the healthy medium, right? So if you have been a yes, sir, no, sir, if you've been, I hope it helps. It did work for me. Like I said in the members, I am physically giving you tools that I have used in my path through my experience and being a psychic medium. Honestly, I didn't know anything about a twin flame path. I was psychic. That's it. Then I stumbled across it and I was like, that makes so much sense. I'm kind of glad I didn't till years later because it meant I had less attachment and I had to learn things the hard way. And each time there was a lot of healing. And honestly, it's been over 25 years, a lot of clearing. I obviously had a lot of junk and I was a bad monkey in a past life. So Kerry, you have the Devil card in Tarot in reverse. Pluto in Capricorn is going direct. I believe it's by the 5th. It's about, look, leveling up. Okay, what do we need to close? You know, what do we need now? We've had so many tower moments, so many things fall down, you know, cutting things out, keeping ourselves safe. And it's like, okay, now it's time to maybe stop eliminating, although we have the eclipse. So that's a kind of conundrum. You know, we sort of have Pluto go direct and then bang, we have the eclipse a couple of days later. And we're already feeling that. I was already feeling that back in September. I was getting the downloads of the eclipses. They always can occur a lot earlier. And really moving forward, what you're going to find is your plans, a lot of the crap at the moment, and, you know, astrologers have been talking about this, which I totally do agree. Career factor for you guys at the minute is problematic, okay? So it's about looking at a different way. You can skin a cat, and I don't skin cats. I love cats, okay? It's a metaphor. What can you do to address this circumstance? Now, old wounds are going to come up. I'm telling you big time. Why? Is because the eclipse is in your shadow sign. It can be to do with, you know, past tense romances. You also, guys, can have massive, I mean, Kerry, honestly, you can bump into your past. Now, this is going to be a person from the past. But what you're going to be doing initially is getting quite triggered. But you're going to get back down to, it's very common prior to bumping into a loved one from the past, a twin flame, you're going to be in this, look, I'm resisting temptation. You could also be on a health kick at this point, which is quite common for your zodiac. Health kicks, looking overindulgence, extremities, money. Why? Is because it's all that sacral chakra, solar plexus energy. I would say balance those areas for your zodiac sign. Also, now, the tower, and I'm going to tell everyone that gets the tower this. There's two ways the tower can go. This tower frustrates me. This took me a very long time. I'd actually... Roman numerals. Okay, the tower can happen to us or for us, or... we are open with our intuition and we get 3 warnings from universe. And I can gospelly say to all of you collectively, if you've had some warning bells going on in a certain area of your life, and it frustrates me, frustrates me. Why? Is because I can't help you not fail, right? What does that mean? Being a guru, you have to detach the ego to a degree, and we all have ego, and you have to sometimes watch people self-sabotage because they got to learn the hard way. I had to learn the hard way. I was one of those individuals. So that's why I empathize. I empathize because I've done it myself. And so it's almost like you're on, you're in a little canoe and you've looked at the map, and ahead you get told Niagara Falls is there. And you're like, I've looked at the map. That's the near miss. That's the first one. The second one is you're there. You still got time to paddle backwards or to send a flare out and go, oh shit, or you go down it. These are the three warnings. You'll get the intuition, you'll get the near miss, and you'll get the avoidance. And what do you get? You get karma. You get, well, it's going to happen. You had your power to do something about it, but you chose not to. Your heart chakra is clearing. You also could feel very deflated because of marriages, contracts, partnerships. That's where the eclipse is going. It's your shadow sign. Don't believe everything that's happening and go into why is that happening on the inside then? Whatever is going on the outside, regardless of the entire world, what then does that mean I can do within my power to deal with the tower and to be present where I am and make the changes that I feel will be relevant to me, regardless of what every Tom, Dick and Harry says. Okay, so when there's a tower, is there power in your life? Do you feel pushed? Are you being manipulated? Where can you take your power back and go, what would a more high vibe life look like? Is something actually lacking? Is there something I could do very separately? How can I be the most authentic version? And a lot of times, especially a past love or a twin flame, you can look at them and have a judgment about it. And then you can look at your life and see where you have the same judgment in the same areas and how you can shift that. And that is the key to reconciliation. I'm telling you, you just feel that so much crap is falling down. People, places, things, the dust is settling. You're moving out of it, but this eclipse season can be tough for you, my love. I can hear blah, 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 blah. But it's more the people around you. They've all got an opinion. I always say this. If people have a lot to say about what you should do, they need to go get a life, because usually the people that are doing that aren't doing it themselves. So if we get triggered, instead of getting triggered, how about we look at it more with gentleness and go, that's interesting. I mean, I had this conflict with an individual who was a family member. And with that individual now, I'm having a better relationship, because when that person does that to me, I say, hey, you're actually projecting. Okay, this is more about you and something going on. Let's talk about that. And so we directly now can have a better relationship. I'm not getting triggered. I'm not then projecting back at that person. And we can actually talk about those subjects, and we're growing because of it. So it's helping that person, to actually be very aware and go, oh, wow, I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself. Oh, wow, I'm kind of feeling that now. So if they're doing that to you, Carrie, just understand it's more about them than you. You can own your power and communicate that boundary. You're probably going to become more assertive. I do feel you're going to have a deeper meaningful with an individual, but I feel this is somebody quite close to you. I also feel there's a potential of you bumping into a person of the past, but you still are working at, and I do feel you're going to be really persevering forward in a very bold way. You may not have the confidence right now that you're going to be okay with it, but I think you're going to be great, okay? I do think things are going to be okay, especially in love. Expect the unexpected. Okay, so we have Dawn. How are we doing with those? Are we hitting the mark? Are we plowing through? Is anyone else getting any advice through these reads that maybe can really aid them with their life moving forward? I have actually heard people say that it's like almost like a viewpoint. And it's like, wow, I haven't really thought of it from that perspective. That's the beautiful thing I think about YouTube is, whatever video we land on, we always can gain a new experience, a new kind of way to look at it. And yes, I have noticed for those that are TFs, we are always growing and we are going through a bit of a shift now, especially those in reconciliation. There are challenges. I mean, even Giggle has noticed within her path some things, maybe some ideals she had and viewpoints of, hey, reunion, union, what it looked like now on the other side, what it looks like. It's very different. There are challenges, but there's work to be done. Hi, Dawn. Let's see what's going on with you. You've got two external situations going on at the moment. What would you like to know, my love? Oh, thanks, Giggle. But see, it's both, it's true, it's double-sided, right? So, through clients, through Patreons, I learn from you. And that's what I try to bring to the table is, the coaching sessions, the clients, the personal experiences with those that have reached their union. And look, there's other areas where there's been success in individuals' lives that is not just to do with love. It's their careers, it's their business, it's their personal growth. That has been, really eye-opening and great. Dawn, why do I always get bloody songs for you? Carrie Underwood, Good Girl. You need to go and listen to that. It's like, na, 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 na. I do love Carrie Underwood, but yes. So you're like, look, you're trying to be realistic. Sometimes we can be too realistic. I told you, you could be having tunnel vision where it does come to this. Why? Is because when we have being masculine and feminine in our lives, we feel that we have to solve everyone's problems. So don't solve everyone's problems. If there's no solution, yeah, I love her. If there's no solution to a circumstance, just look at it and go, universe, can you sort that for me? Because I can't see a way. I'm trying to make healthy choices. You could have been frustrated in the last week. You feel nobody's there for you. But again, if nobody was there for you, would you still be doing what you're doing? That's the way you got to look at it. Did what you did this week and last week bring you pleasure? Did it help you achieve a goal? I've said this many times, especially in Twin Flame Path, we do fall into victim consciousness because it is frustrating that we are responsible. It is frustrating that we have to be the good girl. And that's what that song's about. Good girl is about, well, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full. She's going to give you the world, but you're going to give her BA, FA. Do good girls win the race? Yes, they do, but it also doesn't mean you need to be a pushover. But it also doesn't mean we need to look at it as, hey, because I choose to be the best version of myself, because I choose to be authentic with integrity, that everyone has to mirror that back to me. That's about them. That's not about me. I'm not going to own that. Twin and I had a disagreement this morning. What's it about? Because sometimes the disagreements we're having is we're trying to communicate something, but we're doing my dad's way of communicating. And he's been coming through quite a bit because his birthday's coming up. He's one of my guides. Is that what we mirror to another person is what we want them to mirror to us. So it's like we're inadvertently trying to teach them. You got some things going on with your child. Yeah, devil card in reverse as well. What was the disagreement about? Because the term I'm hearing is acceptance. What are we not accepting? What are we not accepting right now? Because there is tunnel vision. There is some anxiety. What can we accept about each other in the status quo of where it stands right now and become content? Most of the trigger is coming from home and traditions. It can be the way we are raised, the viewpoints, their side, your side. Yours is to do with the separation. Yours is to do with the way the person used to be. Theirs is to do with the burdens and the shit that they've got going on. You're both looking at it. Look, they do feel nostalgic of the past as well. But also at the moment, they do feel that they're trying to come to terms with that. There is a sadness to do with that. So you are a constant reminder of what they've lost. Okay. Now you need to change that. How you can change that is look at the, if you can teach another person inadvertently how to be present and how to move forward, and that the past isn't all that exists. The past was nice and it's great to remind the person, but if we can return to that happy-go-lucky person, they also can. But if we can't maintain that, we can't expect them to. Does that make sense? It feels he has PTSD with you. He does, because you keep directing the conversation to the connection and how it used to be. But like I said, because I've asked what the conundrum is, and what the conundrum is you are reminding him of the happy person he used to be. And also in the 3D, he knows the reality of what he would need to solve. And what he would need to solve is the current connection of what he's in. Does that make sense? So he already knows it's not working. But what do? We put pressure on ourselves. It's like, I just poured all my money into this circumstance. And I'm a victim. I'm stuck here, right? And then you're a reminder of how that person used to be. And then they're like, don't remind me. I hate what I am right now. I miss that person. I had freedom. I had peace. I could be myself. I could hang out with you. So do you get what I'm saying? How you can turn that event about is being high vibe and excited about a future. And then you're inadvertently teaching that person to be, forget your past. You need to be excited about a future. And then that helps that person stop mulling over the fact that all that glistens was gold in the past. And it's about looking at the physical 3D of what it is now and going, hey, it's pretty shit. He goes right into the negative attitude if we have differing views, because a person is going to defend themselves. And remember, how does the karmic relate to him? He's mirroring to you what he would like to do with the karmic. So that's why I said sometimes remaining in communication while they're in a karmic connection, you need to have the boundary and say, look, what I'm actually looking for is a romantic connection that's present in my life. And where you are right now, you are unable to provide that. And so then within the separation, you still could remain in communication. But it's about knowing what you want and being open to that and not looking at them as the solution, just being point blank zero, really high vibe and excited about being open to it. And then what they do is like, well, what are you going to do about that? Always putting it back on them. What are you going to do about that? And then you're not diffusing their problems at home. You're not being the dumping trash can. They have to go back and they're living that day in, day out to the point they will actually reject it because it's unhealthy for them. But if they're getting their detox at your house, they're dumping their trash on you where they should be dumping it on the karmic, because you're relieving them, because joint connections are very you're going to be the good, bad and the ugly with your twin, but you're not going to be with the karmic. Why is that? Because there's an expectation. Okay. The other thing we need to understand is, especially for those that are more into the marriage, when you look at a marriage, it is for the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're not going to get the perfect version at all times, and that's something we need to learn to accept. And a lot of that comes through in the separation. It's teaching us, for better or worse, can you remove the ego to the point you can actually unconditionally love that person? You don't have to agree with their choices. But that's the spiritual marriage, right? When you can get to that space for you and for them, and be present and still loving, you're going to attract that union back in. Okay. But the person at the moment is sad because they feel they're letting you down, is sad because they feel angry at the karmic and they would like to project that. But you just need to give them an outlet to do that. Not to you, to allow them to do that and to just be present and playful. Yeah. And that's why the blockage is coming up, because they are psychologically coming to terms with the breakup. It hasn't happened yet. They haven't put their foot out the door, but they are sad that they can't be themselves, that they can't just pop in for a coffee. They can't just be who they are, but you can't expect that of them because they're in a karmic relationship. And you wouldn't want that because you wouldn't trust them if you reconciled. Does that make sense? So it's about living vibrationally what you want to co-create and not placing that expectation on that person, because what would happen? You won't trust them. Does that make sense? And trust me, a lot of shade can go down on a twin flame connection. Nothing's wrong, but the reasons they occur is to challenge us, to help us grow, so that, and you'll always swap roles. Do you get what I'm saying? But there is a blockage at the moment because they're trying to connect with you differently, but inevitably it's ending the same way. You know, so if you're allowing it to end the same way, you're recreating the same cake. So you have to be the deciding factor. You have to be so fancy free, so detached, so happy go lucky. If they say something to trigger you, you have to not react. You have to react differently. You are taking their power away from that. If you can maintain that, you're going to attract union, but you're also going to teach that person how to be authentic, how to stick up for themselves, how to not get triggered. You get what I'm saying? Tracy, what do we have for you, my love? Oh, okay. Lots of psychic downloads for you. You got some grand ideas. You may need to protect yourself. There is a bit of this could be foggy energy. This could be, it's very intuitive though. Like the first thing I get is intuitive energy. The other thing I get is you are moving away from the Ten of Swords. So there's something that maybe you have intellectually thought. This, oh God, this could be intuition. This could be a gut feeling you're having. I don't know why I'm getting you have intuition to do with something and you're going to approach it. You're going to broach this subject. Why am I getting it? Could make you mad. Could it be a trigger? That's okay, Dawn. I hope it helps. You're going to get through it. There's reasons why these things come up in the journey, and it's to change us. It's to resolve the conflict plot prior to reconciliation. It's so that you're not going to butt heads. You're just going to water off a duck's back. Okay. Now we've got Tracy. We've got the Queen of Cups here. Do you have intuition to do with circumstance? Something's coming to a head, right? Is this to do with a romantic connection, Tracy? This is either a partnership or a romantic connection. There's two roads here. You'll be fine, sweet. It's a hard one, but you can do it, okay? We do get through it. They're just challenges that come up. But Tracy, what I'm saying for you, not in a connection. Well, there's two individuals here. There's somebody potentially coming back from the past, but there is a new energy. You got two energies. In a working environment, however, I also do feel there could be a choice between two paths. I feel you're trying to trust your instincts. There are some major goals you're going to, how do I explain it? It feels like there's some major goals. Could this be buying a house? Could this be moving home? Could it be a home-based business? It's like there's some plans, but they're going to be some big things that are coming, I would say, in the next, I think it's almost coming through this month. It might be something that you're looking to as a goal. But whatever this is, it feels exciting. It feels large. You might be thinking to yourself, this could be at my age, at this date, at this point. Is it possible? It could be a very large goal. But I do think you're going to achieve it. And I think you're going to make a major decision this month. You are going to be in quite a powerful position. If you're waiting on some paperwork, I do feel it's going in your favor. I do feel it's going to be quite lucrative. But it feels very positive. Have you had an idea in mind, something that you've wanted to do? Yeah, this could be something you currently, sometimes, especially like we can look at astrology, for instance, and somebody can be telling you, oh, you're going to leave your career. And it's not necessarily. Sometimes it's that you're transforming it, completely. I mean, over the last years and years, I've had some health situations going on. I've tweaked the business over the years. I also, with changes in life, we've had to work out ways. Well, yeah, you've got the home energy. Is there a reason why? just in general. So it feels positive. I feel a possibility of a connection. I feel a possibility of you're in the magician energy, but you also, in doing such, it could be preparing for something. Only thing I'm working on is remodeling the home. Well, you got the home energy here, but you also this home environment, especially if you felt an urgency to get things done. If you needed to refinance or do anything to that degree, again, not that I'm, really can give you legal advice or anything to that degree, is that you could be wondering, is it going to go in your favor? I do feel so. Need a new roof from storm and now painting house. One thing has made me have a redo something else. Yeah, but the crazy thing, what they're saying to me is you're probably been thinking to yourself, why has all this crap happened? They're actually preparing your home for a grand entry. There's a reason why. Literally, it's like people are going to come towards you, but it's opening up. It's almost like creating a brand new world, a fresh slate for a fresh start. And this is going to be maybe a connection coming into your life. It could be a home-based business in the future. But there's a reason why. All the universe is saying is there's a reason why this had to happen. You'll understand after. But they're also saying keep going. There is a healing and a clearing. Also, I do feel the price of the home is going to increase quite substantially. And you may come, there's a sentimentality connected to this environment, but whoever was directly spiritually connected to that, they're saying when it does come to it, if you ever do decide to sell it, be okay with that because you could actually make out quite pretty. Okay? But it's looking positive, Dale. Okay, you're going to understand the dramas, why you had to go through them, but it's to create these blessings for your future. That's what they're showing me. And don't underestimate your creativity. There's a lot of creativity there. You do have a flair for design. This could eventuate in a new passion that you found. Giggle. I hope that helps. I have to do the retail and the dump. Yeah, look, I can say now that Mercury, shadow direct and, we're having Pluto go direct, I'm getting rid of a lot of things. I'm clearing, I'm getting rid of rubbish, I'm spring cleaning because we're going into summer, so there is a lot of that going on in the collective. I would always say, especially moving into the eclipses, you're most welcome, love. Especially moving into eclipses, it's brand new chapters. So we need that clean slate. We need the home energy cleared. Smudge your house, clear your house, wash your windows. Real bad feng shui to have dirty windows moving into new energy. So it also can trap, especially in mirrors, trying to go back and clean your mirrors because bad chi can get stuck in it. Psychic attacks can happen. Have you ever daydreamed in front of a mirror? Face, orange, biting nails. Oh, Lord. Let's see. Hello, it's me. Okay, well, what do we think is going to happen with Giggle's fruit? Twins are so patient. Whenever I'm doing these readings, he has to turn the TV right down. He was looking at a new hi-fi system, which I thought was hilarious. And I said to him, no. We have a dinosaur one. We've got what was it? Was it a Sony? We've got a Sony surround audio system. We have 3 of them. One of them, the speakers we bought secondhand off Facebook Marketplace, or it could have been, one of the marketplaces. But it doesn't have. It was just for the spare speakers because we had spare. Oh no, it was for the hi-fi system. Anyway, so we theoretically literally have all these really large speakers, and he wanted to, look at something a bit more modern, except the wattage of it. He's not going to hear it. If any of you, especially Giggle, she's actually heard the TV going on in the radio. It's all deafening. You literally can hear it friggin' 3 blocks down. Not that we have blocks, we are in the country. So, anywho, I was like, don't even bother. You're wasting your money. You're not going to like it. He goes, but it's more modern. It might be modern. When we build, we can put them in the ceiling. You know? Let's just leave that. Mine needs a hearing aid. Mine needs a hearing aid. You know what I should do is put the friggin' volume in the hearing aid, and then I can have Zen. I actually, with the PlayStation, made him get a headset. It's like, look, you can have your happy world. You can. Surround sound. I'll pay for them. No drama. Just give me my Zen, man. Okay, what do we have for you? Oh, God. Giggle's like, what? Look, your cards are good. Your cards are good. Calm your farm. You're trying to be realistic. Okay, you're like, I'm trying to hold my shit. I'm trying to hold my shit. It's good. Just think, we are getting a brand new slate. We're not waiting for anyone to come and do it. We're getting it done ourselves, you know? Don't wait for someone to do it if we can do it ourselves. So many years of selective parenting. Yeah, tell me about it. Okay. Now, what you have the 7 of Swords in reverse. Okay. You're trying to react to this situation differently. You're trying. You also feel you're like, make the most. Let's pull a clarifier. No ego attachment. Let's pull a clarifier. What do we need to know about this circumstance with Giggle and these good choices? What reference are you making here, please? To do with values. It's almost like in your value system, this is the way you do things. Could be a circumstance to do with work, and you're like, oh, you know, yeah, headspace, what that person's going through. Are they stuck in their head? Have they moved forward? Are they being present? You know, you're looking at that. You're like, is something wrong? Are we going backwards here? Could it be a bit of PTSD? Yes, it could be. Doesn't mean to say that, that this circumstance needs to change. Yes, like I said, how you tackle it will be the deciding fact. Sometimes saying nothing at all does change it. We did speak about this earlier. Could you be thinking, is this person still single? Yes, it can come up in your mind, but I don't think you're going down that rabbit hole too much because it is going to the past. But again, it is about triggers of the past, right? It is about triggers. Now, there is a frequency where you could be feeling that you don't want to come off strong. It's causing triggers. Heart space is causing triggers. If you have kept referring back to a previous event, this could be on a holiday. They're showing me that image. They're saying let it go. It's not the same. It's a different situation. The next cards you have is all good. Some sense of a burden is going to drop. You do have the 2 of Cups. You got the Star. You got the 10 of Wands. There's going to be some junk you're dumping. But I also feel your TF could actually be working through some circumstances of eliminating, of alleviating. And I do feel a lot of times when they are in that separate time, there's a lot of thinking. And you probably find that you're doing that too. So in between communication and no communication, what you're going to find is that person's doing a lot of unpacking. And I do feel spiritually you're doing it too. So I do feel the communication standpoint is going to shift. But what I'm feeling is because of the extra, it's sort of like, you know, we're driving down a road and then it's all like a car is driving in from the side and we're like, oh God, now I've got to wait. I've got to give way. It's sort of those situations. And I feel this person is dropping this, especially if they're carrying a circumstance that's unmanageable. It's going to come to a head. Oh, hi. Okay. I do feel they're going to come to your house. I do feel there's a moving in stage. I do feel future tense. This is actually going somewhere. So I wouldn't try to not get, like, if you need to address it, address it. That's what I'll say. But what I can see from your cards is it's going to be okay. There could be, like I said, some hurdles. The person's kind of eliminating some things and moving some things out. There is a transition they're having within a job, I'd say, and they're finding it a little bit burdensome. And I think they're gradually coming to terms with that, but they're also trying to problem solve and look at how they can alleviate it. They have actually thought about the both of you moving in together. This also, they have thought about you commuting to where they are, but they also don't want to stay there. So there's a secondary thing they're actually thinking about, if that makes sense. Do they value you? Yes. They also know they can't lie. They also know that you can't lie to them, so they know you're pissed. Okay, so they're going to address it. They are going to discuss it with you. You don't need to say anything at all. They know. You probably won't. I think that because of your silence, they're going to address it because you used your intuition. They know that you're upset and they know what it is and they know they're going to address it. But this is also, they're having some dramas at work. But again, it's something they're still planning the future. Everything here is showing they're planning the future. You're picking up on it though. But just remember, value systems and how we deal with challenges is slightly different. You do have with the Two of Cups and the Star. So you got a home run here, girl. Doesn't mean to say we're not going to have dramas. Do you get what I'm saying? So there is some things that you emotionally can be carrying, but they are dealing with. You could intuitively, psychically be picking up on it, but I do feel they're addressing it. And your silence actually can trigger a conversation. They could turn up at your house to have this conversation. Okay, I hope that helps. Who do we have next? Shasta. Yeah, so I think you already gave the communication flyer. You know what I mean? Oh, look, I tell you, we all do feel, and look, I remember I'm doing things at the moment after having Ross River virus, working 2 jobs, getting up on a truck. My knees at one stage would not physically work, and I still feel pain in my joints. But really pushing ourselves and, like, how far can we go? It's also a lot of the pressure that we will be putting on ourselves is because between now and I would say 2025, we're preparing. We're in a lot of what we don't know is we're in preparation mode. We're building our fort. So yeah, silence is gold. It says it all. So if that person, what do we do with our kids? It's almost like, my nan would give me a look and I was like, I'm in trouble. Oh, it says it all. Body language. So it doesn't need to be nasty or spiteful. You can say, look, I'm trying to react to this differently. It is frustrating me. If they push even further and you're in the 3D together, you can turn around and say, yes, it is frustrating me. I'm trying to have empathy for you. I am not walking in your shoes. I can't respond for you. But yes, as a person, this does frustrate me. Shasta, you have the Star card. Oh, I still am loving, even though you are going through some changes, my girl. What I am saying is I love your energy. When I tune into your cards, you're a winner. You don't take you may fall into victim consciousness with healing, right? But you snap out of it and you come back with revenge, but it's positive revenge. It's like, no, I will darn on it do this. I will darn on it get through. And so your attitude with your life is overall extremely positive. It's not to say you don't get triggered. It's not to say you don't look at things and go, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? Have a bit of caffeine so I can keep up with you, girl. But you're a winner. You're like, I am going to win. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how, but I am gospelly going to have the Star card. So, could you have pulled a tower down? Could you have gone through a healing of detachment? Doesn't mean it's over. It just means your attitude going into the circumstance is different, so you're going to get a different cake. This could have been to do with the separation, to do with the feeling you had of that person. Could you be saying to yourself, well, I'm not doing this anymore because, this person's rejecting me? I feel you're doing a bit of both. I feel you're kind of looking at it going, no, I'm going to approach it differently. I'm going to look at this differently. I know this person has feelings for me. I know that what they're saying and what they're doing is polar opposite. How can I look at this and deal with this differently? Now, when you are fancy free and watching your side of the path and being playful and just being a friend, this triggers this person. This makes this person be paranoid. They then go into this feeling of, well, are you seeing someone? Are you doing something? What are you doing? Who are you seeing? They might not be. It's going to come through in their body language. So the cards are asking you to pay attention to that. Pay attention to how you're reacting to things, but also pay attention to what that person's changed body language is, because it's going to give you some clues. Okay, what am I getting? There is somebody in this. I feel as though, and I want you to take this with a grain of salt, depending on how it falls. Okay, what they're showing me is there is a person in your circle that is quite keen on your twin. I want you to tackle this correctly. I want you to not be triggered. I want you to move into happy-go-lucky vibe. I'm happy, I'm single, I'm mingling, because I do think this is a test for this person. You could be getting some gossip through the grapevine, or even feeling, if you are, I do feel this person does have feelings for you. That's the first thing, first and foremost. The other thing I'm getting is you could be getting some gossip or intuition, but I am picking a person that is around the both of you that is quite keen on this person. It's a test. Okay, it's their test. It is your test too. It's how you approach it. If you can be high vibe, you're going to get the star. Why? It's because the other person feels a bit, and I hate using kind of words that kind of judge a situation. Do you get what I'm saying? Or compartmentalize it into categories. But it could be a person that's a bit promiscuous, but you're going to get the star card. I'm hearing the same song. Doing things the traditional way, you can still be playful, you can still be sexy, and but you're going to win the race. Why? It's because they have a great deal of trust, they have a friendship with you. You just got to apply it correctly. Yeah, you could be hunting for the truth, but I also feel that person is this person does have feelings for you. They're fibbing. But this is a change they're going through. And I feel if you can just observe their change, it's going to pay off. Okay? It's going to pay off. I don't think they're telling you the full gist of how they feel. That's what I'm getting. Leo next. How are you, my love? Yeah, I sent you a few patrons I think it was a pie dish. Was it a pie? And it looked like a pumpkin, but it had the yummies in it. I was like, oh my goodness. And again, any Venus sign is always going to adore the aesthetics of, this can be interior, it can be clothing, beauty, food, wine. And sure enough, this pie was beautiful. And Venus signs closer to the eclipse in Taurus, you're going to be eating a lot. So just be aware. Just be aware. You can nervous eat, nervous drink. Let's get that up on the screen. Giggle's probably like, I'm so tired, Yildiz. What time is it there? Anything between DM and I opened light communication with him this week. It was nice. That's cool. Good job. You feel this person is holding back in love, that they are afraid of commitment. You also could be, to a degree, afraid of commitment because it could fail. Mate, we got typical Libras, right? Like, have you had your caffeine giggle? You like DTs? Yeah, cool. Okay, so you could be looking at this going, am I ready for a commitment? Are they, let's not scare the mouse. Let's address this. This person still does have feelings for you. Sometimes you worry that they are maybe seeing another person. That's still something that's playing on your mind. You're trying to be balanced. You do sense that by this eclipse, something major is going to shift. I was actually looking at that the other day. A lot of Leos have been coming through to me. And again, because the eclipses can affect like Leos and Cancers quite a bit, I was wondering where it was hitting again. Yeah, in a contract. Okay, this could be a car. It could be a contract. It could be a conversation. It could be a marriage certificate. A divorce could be, but it's your routine. Old conversations coming up, having to deal with those old situations. And the next one relating to your career, a big wrap up. Okay. So you have a harvesting machine going on here. You do know that they've been through a lot. It is like, to a degree, it's like there's a lot of love there. There's a lot of pain as well. There's a lot of things that both of you have been like maybe protective of. You do feel inevitably something has to change. Yeah, so it's like, okay, these have been weighing on me. These have been things I've been carrying. Is it something I need to do spiritually on my side of the fence? Is this all to do with me? Or are there things that within the joint connection that's kind of problematic? Are you looking at, you're still weighing the pros and cons of this direct connection? You could be looking at from a traditional standpoint of having children together. You still are a bit worried about karmics, but you need to tune out of them. They have no control over this. The more courage you can have in looking at it from that perspective, I do feel a judgment's coming, but I feel it's like between the eclipses, you're gonna have to be grounded. I would especially say if you're feeling very impulsive during either eclipse, put yourself in timeout. Okay? Timeout throat chakra, timeout activation. Give it 2 days either side. If you have to, you have to, right? But I definitely, for your zodiac sign, would put yourself in timeout to not overreact to situations. You can feel anxious. Diary if you need to get to the root cause of things. You do know this person has had some upheaval and some pain. There is a major decision that you do need to make, and I do feel something is going to go in your favor, but you could even be thinking by change behavior, it's going to change the outcome. Do you get what I'm saying? But you're trying to turn over that new leaf so that you can get a different outcome. There could be a small offer here, but you may want to talk about the future. And that's okay too. If you want to say, look, should we give this a try? You're within your right to ask. All right. We're already seeing some of the things, and it can be alliances broken. It can be new ones being formed. Subjects from the past moving into a new chapter. Try to be mature in this. It is to do with love. This also could be a decision that they're making with the daughter. There could be a changing situation with that, okay? Yes, trying to turn behavior that works better. Yeah, look, honestly, the Taurus eclipse always gives us cravings. So it could be something as simple as changed energy. It's like feeding it. Quality could be fruit, could be getting some protein balls. It could be getting some digestive biscuits, extra liquid, dealing with stress levels differently. I usually, if I'm really stressed, I will not have like double caffeine. I will try to reduce that because I know it's only going to agitate me. I'd keep the fluid up. I'd still have caffeine. You can't remove it totally because you'll get a headache. But, you know, if there's been a caffeine drink or anything that is a stimulant, it's about not extreming it, you know, not putting it to extremes, and then you're going to cope a bit better. So we have cha. So no meat or chicken. I wouldn't say that. If you're aggressive, I would find that any red food groups is going to heighten that. We are going to have Venus moving into Virgo, so we're going to be looking at nutrition and diet naturally. You know, it's more, if you're aggressive, red food groups and orange food groups reduce. If you're giving your power away, or, you know, you're feeling sluggish, at those colors. So it's about balancing those chakras, but your body's always going to tell it whatever, you know, it needs. Whatever comes up. Okay, Cha. Cha's like, hit me with it. Did I just hear you say, oh, God, what's it going to be? We won't be able to. Look, if you know in the areas, it's about, especially because you're a sun sign, my love, you're just not going to be able to. Is it going to happen smack bang on the day? Half of it's playing out now. Is it going to become more intense? Yes. During that, if you have attachment and you're anxious, you're going to project. So it's about being aware of the behavior and acting differently, putting yourself in timeout, writing the trigger down, revisiting it after, noticing, where does this come up in my life? Okay, Cha, wow. You're missing that person. You do want some change. You might find that you go into a quiet space most recently. This could be something that's coming up, moving ahead. Again, I'm seeing two situations playing out. I do feel that there is a circumstance where there's a solution. It could feel a little bit dark and gloomy. I don't feel could it be depression, a little bit of depression, but it feels more reflective energy. Does that make sense? So it's like not, you know, it's not really a trigger. It's not really, it's just deep reflection. There's deep nostalgia, deep reflection, maybe a missing of that person. You're in the Five of Cups, but there's a crossroad here. You know, if you notice the way she's crossed her arm, it's almost like a crossroad. And I'm feeling you're condensing the past, acknowledging it, but also going, okay, I'm in a catch-22 here. I'm sort of like at a crossroad. I need to move forward, but how do I look at this? Am I ready for it? I think the disappointment also is the fact that it didn't sometimes we can carry the full consequence, and so it's almost like if it didn't turn out, it's almost like subconsciously we don't even know I call it ego. Why? Is because we believed if we had the full chance, it could have turned out to be really beautiful, but that's us actually owning it like it was all our fault. Does that make sense? Things, you are going to be more open to dealing with this, so you are actually dealing with it differently. You're wondering when it's going to dissipate to the fact you can actually function on a day-to-day, and it's not like this, if that makes sense. It is going to get there. I feel you're closer than you think. You do feel disappointed that things were done in the dark, and you didn't get your way of reaching full closure. You didn't get your full penny's worth, if that makes sense. You could be a bit worried about the eclipses. I also feel, especially from the things that you are doing, like the first thing, and I really thought about this, especially with the zodiac linking to you, is that you actually, in your pastimes and what you're doing, you could be incredibly bored all of a sudden. It's like nothing. It's almost like you want to rip your life down. You're like, no, I've been hermitizing, I've been co-creating, I've been dealing with my kids, I've been looking at, love, and it's like you want to shake your life up. It's like you're tired of I think it's a Selena Gomez song. Tired of that. I'm so sick of that same old love. Yeah, it's more the Venus element of things because it's the fifth house for you. You are going to go through a changed energy. You're like, you want to have fun. You want to have fun. You want to be present in your life. You want to have a good love life. You want to have romance. You want to be wined and dined. You want to be surprised. And I think your chapter is coming, especially where it does relate to the past. But you're like, okay, where do I have my power? Have you been feeling like you wonder what the hell's going on with this? You're kind of like, I want to know, but I don't want to know. Do I look on social media? Do I want to know? You're in a catch-22, but I definitely feel that that's a very positive thing, especially with the kids. There could be some brand new chapters going on. But you as a woman, having this change vibration is like you're ready to enter into a new chapter. You really, really do miss them. There could be a bit of dirtiness about it, but I do feel you're thinking about maybe what you need to do to have that movement forward. Okay. But again, it's all these change things. It's very nostalgic. Sitting with it at the moment. You just kind of wished it would be them that would reach out. Okay. Do I still feel it's a possibility? I do. But I also do feel if you have any unfinished business, now is the time to clear the air. Is it writing everything that you felt down and burning it and casting it to the wind? It could be. Is it emailing that person? It could be. Only your soul is going to give you permission to do what you feel you need to do. Okay. And then you can open that new chapter. But this eclipse is going to bring in a brand new chapter in your creativity and romance. And it also can make you quite fertile, FYI. Yeah. Okay, who do we have? We have Lenora and then Stella. And then Giggle can go to bed. Or were we going to have an after, a post-moderated chat? I don't know yet. We'll see. Giggle will be in bed. We can do an evening chat if you like. I'm going to get I have to do my lawn. I'm renovating the garden. I'm cleaning out different things. Getting content done. Hey, what would you like to know, my love? What a beautiful name. Who's that? One of my daughter's friends. What did he say his name was? And I was like, oh, that's such a traditional, beautiful name. I wouldn't call your name traditional. But it was a very English name this person had. But I said to him it was noble. Yeah, it was very noble. Joint energy, please. Are you dealing with okay, what I'm saying is it feels as though there's some sense of documentation that is involved here. Now, could it be that that person is dealing with maybe a contract of some description? That could be marriages, contracts, partnerships, could be a legal document. I can't advise you legally. I have to say that. But it seems contractual. I feel you're going to get some gossip through. This can be like meeting the right person at the wrong time. That was really coming up. Yeah. So there's a contract of some description. It is going to change the whole dynamic. I do think it's coming to a head. I think you've been thinking about it, but I'm also feeling from a contract point of view, it's going to change the entire dynamic. You could be a bit worried about it. You could be thinking, oh gosh, if they get this contract, does that mean I'll be able to see them? I do feel yes. Yeah, it's something old as well. Yeah, you're looking at it going, well, what's that going to mean about us? Like, where is that going to hold us? You're in team. Like, I'm definitely seeing gossip coming through. If you're in communication, it could, yeah, I still feel gossip. Okay. This is information through the grapevine. They're asking you to be ready for it. They're also asking you to be able to be open to how the story unfolds and not, give your fears to universe. I know it's saying there's a delay. It's also saying don't think it's not going to work out. If there's a delay, it is to protect you. Who's this busybody? There's a busybody here. Could this be a karmic? Well, this also could be you reflecting on the past, and you're like, oh, is it going to cause issues? How is it going to go moving forward? I think this is you meditating more upon the entire journey of influences, impacts. It is to the past. Okay, you're looking at some real 3D things. Are there children involved in this connection? I'm hearing the term you're on this person's side. You could know maybe what they've gone through in their life. Okay, so what they're referencing here, love. Sometimes we get into this huge traditional logic of what, how it should be, right? There's some conundrum relating to children. How is this going to work if we reconcile? What are the analytics going to be? Can we afford it financially? How are we going to balance that? Is there going to be a cause and effect? These are things that both parties are directly looking at because they're the real world, right? So in the real world, we have real life problems. And I feel you can be maybe embodying the masculine and the feminine because a lot of times we're kind of looking at that and it's like a team kind of thing, whereas we are doing it like we're it. There is an issue with the karmic. Now, that can be the children's mother. This could be on their side that you're a bit wary about, although it could be on your side, okay? Could be a karmic on your side. If there has been issues with kind of merging the dynamic between the two and it's coming back up again spiritually for you, I do feel the balance is able to be there. But the conflict that they're looking at could be exactly the same as you're looking at. Do you both have a different ideal of how you want this to be? Was there a conflict in this situation? Because they're making a bold reference to do with that. And I think it could be the key to it. My karmic ex sends him abusive emails at times. Yeah, it could be a restraining order. I mean, again, I can't advise you legally, but look, what they're saying here in this read is you could be thinking this is causing issues in your union, and it actually is. It's about what you could do in a healthy way to alleviate it so that you can be open for this. Because you're trying to be rational with it. If you can look at it from their point of view, you do both have responsibilities, but you also have the right to your own lives. What could you do on the up and up to alleviate that situation so that you directly can be open to a new chapter? This could be something as simple as, are you in communication with this person? Are you keeping it completely, one-sided, where all it is to do is about, the children? It could be visitation rights, etc., etc. And keeping it simple so that that can dissipate, because it does seem to be causing conflict at this point, and it doesn't mean that it's not going to end. But again, Libra is the sign of justice, isn't it? It's like, what can we do to create balance and harmony, where we honour the past but also honour our future moving forward? And I think it could be coming to a head. Yeah, I do think it can be coming to a head. At the moment, you're trying to be rational where it does come to the reunion. It's not about waiting. It's about, what can I do to make that foundation, everything that I have in my life, more open so that I can directly have a more consistent energy. I mean, that person should have absolutely no reason to message another person, or to even, how did they even get their bloody email, number one? I can guarantee you TF has actually blocked it, so they're paying it none. If this has been in your mind kind of fearing you that this person may not want that because of that direct thing, I don't think so. But I do feel if you've compartmentalized it and the only text you're having is to do with that, then I think you'll be okay. But they are referencing that as a factor that is actually affecting your connection with this. So if you can look at a different way to address it, I do feel you will have more success moving forward. Okay. Stella. What do we have for Stella? Oh, Stella. Are you tired, my love? You got the Ten of Swords. Oof. Okay, it might have been a little bit emotional. This also could be because of the eclipse coming. I bet Giggle's happy it's the end. Last but not least, Stella, you're most welcome, sweet. I hope it helped. Yeah, trust me, we had stalkers in our twin flame path too. Some of us will remain in contact with, past energies. Others, through absolutely no choice. It's like, okay, this is what we need to do to live and thrive. And it can be completely cutting them out altogether, following the legal route, obviously. You beat it. Happy birthday to you. Okay, you do realise birthdays, like, lunar returns aren't sweet. We can feel like, it's emotional. It's like an old chapter. It's another notch on the belt. But spiritually, psychologically, it's like endings, new beginnings. It can be heightened in emotion. You do have a lot on your mind. Now, there can be something that's coming that is going to be quite overwhelming, but I don't feel this in a bad way. I feel lots of new chapters coming, and it just feels like it's all coming at you. And I do feel you also can have some plans moving forward. You also psychically can be picking up on your TF, right? If it was quiet, I think you may hear something about the karmic. Okay, this can be to do with a third-party situation. Oh, heck. Okay. But I get like in your life, I'll tell you, without the cards psychically, I pick some very happy events coming up. It can be news coming at left field, announcements. It can be, just real happy, positive, exciting things. But I also get, if you're going to be planning a holiday in a very short space of time between now and the end of the year, it feels like you're going to have a lot to juggle. And you could be all of a sudden feeling psychologically you need to get rid of things. You're not resonating with maybe your clothing, your dress, your makeup, your style. You could be cutting things out of your diet that you feel isn't working for you because you feel it's making you too tired and you need to make a change. This could be for your own intuition with wellness, right? I do get some really positive news. It's going to actually be quite uplifting. Separately, okay, in your TF path, I see some crap going down over there. You could pick up on it. So where you have a great day, you can be feeling spiritually some very funky energy. You also all of a sudden may feel sorry for the karmic. But this links to Your soulmate karmic, I think. Empathy can be a bitch, really. Like, oh, yeah. I do feel your children are going to have some grand news. I do feel one is still stubborn, but there is some grand news. There also could be a breakthrough with the job situation. You also could be taking on a brand new role in your life. I do feel if money is going to flow for you, but the way you deal with things, like, okay, the first thing I'm hearing is if you want to retire, don't. That's your call, what you do with it. They're saying just wait a little bit. Just wait a little bit, because there may be a reason why you need that job. Okay, because I do think some good luck's coming, but it could be a transitional thing. I do think you could choose to do a different job. There is a possibility of that. It could be a different role that you take on at work. Could be a different pay. Could be a pay rise that you could be getting. There is going to be a change, but I also feel soulmate energy change in their status. I do feel news coming, if it hasn't already. But it's also saying don't give up on that. But I do feel empathy for a karmic for some reason. This could be because they go into an argument or a separation. But there's some bad news coming from that person's side. I hope that helps, Stella. Happy birthday. Giggles like, night all, I'm going to bed. Thank you all. Now, the next one we have, so Giggles like, night all. Okay, the next one we have is within the members. If you want to join it, you can become a subscriber. And the super chats will be within our members hub. I do need to upgrade the, I'm changing the star sign level. I may bring them back in, but I'm going to call it webinars and stars. Okay. And then that way we know what it is, what you get. Webinars and stars, you know, it could be through the transits, etc. The next webinar is going to be on the eclipse in Taurus. I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks by zodiac sign. Happy birthday to all of you. Be very gentle to yourself, especially if you're Libra, Aries, any of you, wherever you have that in your chart. We are in eclipse season. We could feel a little bit anxious. We do have the joint connection up. Okay, and the next one, the next updates are on their way. Take care, and I'll see you soon.